side by side.
Aloha, Big Island. This is Wago. Today's January 23rd, and this is your Big Island update. If you're new to the channel, what we do is we take all Yang Gang information, squish it into one Cliff Notes type of idea, try and get it under at least 10 minutes for you. Today we're talking about, as always, getting people registered to vote. If you are not registered, please register to vote as a Democrat. Vote for Andrew Yang. After hearing out his policies on the website at 2020.com, you could look for events near you and hear him speak. If you're on the Big Island, chances of that are a little harder. However, after February 3rd primaries in Iowa, more people are going to be wondering who the Asian man is offering $1,000 a month and why it fundamentally is revolutionary and will change and stimulate local economies immediately. Look forward to this channel also for different types of segments and updates that'll talk specifically about your area. Alrighty, so today we generally start with the Yang Daily 10. Today's Yang Daily 10 is Yang your pets, and as you can already see with my little goobers here, Rufus and Ollie, they're yanged, but there's stuff on the website to merch them. That was actually kind of a joke, like yesterday's Yang Daily 10 was National Skydiving Day. And they said get 4 people, get 1 Y, 1 A, 1 G, and they're like, don't go skydiving, phone bank. And they're absolutely correct. Phone banking is the most important thing you can do to volunteer for the Yang Gang right now. February is all about Iowa. If we make Iowa feel special, which we are, they will understand, the whole nation will understand when the wave comes crashing. That's why we're here for you at YGBI, Yang Gang Big Island. You can email us at yanggangbigisland@gmail if you have any questions. But we're here to provide quick updates so you can recap on everything that's Andrew Yang, or just stay here to get focused on the day's curly events. Our meeting January 26th is going to be held at the Pavilion in Hilo, Sunday 3 to 5, January 26th, unless otherwise noted. We might have it at a coffee shop. We're trying to gain awareness, and if some local businesses would back us, that'd be amazing. If you're tuned into this and you are a local business and you support the Yang Gang, please give us an email at yanggangbigisland@gmail.com. Alrighty, so Yang Daily 10, phone banking. You can Yang your pets if you want to Yang others. You can take pictures of them, put them on social media, but take pictures of yourself phone banking. Phone banking is awesome. Today's videos are basically dedicated to people that are out there doing it. I just chose out of them, I believe, Kai's, Paget's, and Boyce's. So I did a detailed account on their channel, and one of the comments you could find our channel's comment, and it just did the detail. I'm not going to have enough room inside the description today to put in because it went well above 5,000 characters. So here we go. Kai Watson, he talked after Maureen Williamson dropped out. They were wondering if she was going to support Andrew. As most things are, it happens in 24 hours. Does she support was where I was going with that, but yeah, so you can watch Kai give a little support. He also talks about a couple of data points that I didn't think about different polling situations from college students. New channel to me. She was doing phone banking. Her name is Heather, I would assume. Her channel is called Heather Just Create. Let's join her for the next one. I'm going to go online, learn how to phone bank again. I watched part of the Yang Daily 10 on how to do phone banking, but didn't really write it down, attain all the information that would make it feel a little less awkward. From what I'm noticing, you just got to jump in and do it. Once you get 1 or 2 or 3 done, you're done. The only thing I don't understand is how to jump on other lines, how to have live people on the channel, and maybe that stuff's not even accessible right now. But either way, I'll record my process and I'll put it on a separate channel. Just video. All right, moving on. Problem solving politics. Cody and Cardin talk about fundraising goals coming short. Are the Yang Gang strap cash? Hell yeah. How about we move on to the strap cash middle class and make them understand the same way that we do, the people who are in the bottom 80% and that 73 living paycheck to paycheck. Every single dime is going. Everybody that I talk to that's Yang Gang serious, Yang Gang on the wave, been there for a while, donates every penny, wears their gang gear every day, and has a conversation with every single person, regardless if it has anything to do with Yang. Every time my wife and I go out, we Yang Gang at least 5 to 150 people, hands down. Handing out flyers, giving brochures, talking about things, paying for people's meals, paying it forward, picking up trash, talking about the future and what a Yang administration is, and if at nothing least, just yelling the name Andrew Yang. We hold up signs too. It's awesome. Anywho, they're talking about that. The people that they're talking about are Cardin rants off at about 8:13 about current POTUS, and honestly, I don't even think the man could even cook a meal himself, change his oil in his car, or clean a generator, which makes me think, what can these people do? Moving on, Lynn site. Another endorsement video. Marianne Williamson, not entirely sure. Now we know Williamson is in, but he chit-chats about Oprah. What's up with that? You'd think Oprah would be all behind this. Is she not political, or are people not writing her? Let's jump on it, gang. Also, Jason from Queens got a clip of the Yang Gang ad in New York City. Took his phone to do, but man, that thing was huge, going around the side of a canvas, on a tower. It was all digital. We paid for that, Yang Gang. Us. We did that. All right, Shaving with Tully. I wonder how his run went. Number one. Number two, if you didn't see it on the social medias, he got a license plate where he lives, I believe, and it says math. Yeah. The video that he covered is just the basic stump speech, but it was on his birthday. It's a little old, but it's really interesting to see just how Iowans' perceptions have changed. And in a video later, they're talking about in Twitter and in Reddit, Yang Gang Week has turned into Yang Gang Month. And if I remember correctly, Miguel Smiley Face? Smiley Eyes? Happy Eyes? Something like that. It's down in the description below. Has a video about how he has been yanging Republicans that were unaware but do also agree with Yang's policies, showing on the website, talking about how it would affect local communities, bringing back money and a trickle-up economy. Good grief, it's awesome. All right, moving on. Zach Matt, 38 Q&A. That's what makes the difference between Yang Gang and everybody else. Hit the Q&A, watch the Iowa voters asking questions, watch Andrew answer them authentically, not stump speeching it like he did for him, giving the ideas and issues for you to go on the website, yang2020.com, but he just answers questions so efficiently that, honestly, I don't see any other candidate being able to do this. But that's my personal opinion. I'm sorry. Make your own. Moving on. Mindful Skeptics. Here's where it gets on. This is going to be Bose, and he's got a couple of people coming on to do the phone banking. At 2 o'clock, he gets a not 2 o'clock, at 2 minutes, he gets a hang up. At 17:20, he gets a not interested. At 20:50, he gets another person who said, I wish I could say yes. They're uninformed. At 22, he explains what the UBI and the M4A is. Bam! Great description. At 24, job creation. At 27, intros for suggestions by the people who are watching him live stream. Pretty interesting how they would phrase things. I think he fell back on a couple of those phrasings, and I also will when I'm doing my phone banking. I took pictures of them. Hopefully you'll be right here, or there, or there, or there, or there, or there. Does it feel weird to say to strangers, give me your information? For those of you who are phone banking, if you have that comment or question, put it down below. I feel weird saying, hey, let me get your information when I already have their telephone number. That means that, like, you're either the best grifter in the world at that point and people don't get the wordsmith that you're doing, or it is authentic and it'll come through. I don't know, because I haven't been on the phone banking side, only text banking, and I know that on text banking I would never ask anybody for any additional information. It wouldn't happen. So anywho, also another thing, a lot of people that are doing the phone banking are suggesting Joe Rogan is one of the sources to go to, and I understand that's what we did maybe 2, 3, 4 months ago, but honestly things have been updated since that. So I would also include that Joe Rogan was one of the first sources, but to tell them to Google anything about Andrew Yang and it's going to be golden. And even if it's not, it's nothing against his character or the idea of his policies or the campaign or the Yang Gang. Everything online is pretty much beneficial because the Yang Gang's been putting it out there just for people to see. There's no bias. As far as things like the Joe Rogan podcast, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't Joe a Bernie supporter? And at this point, M4A covers everybody till death, as well as the freedom dividend. In the original, it had terms that are no longer the same that have been updated on the policy, and Andrew has thusly shown that he could speak about those things efficiently. Joe Rogan's a good way to get into it, maybe the first 5, 10, 20 minutes, but all the information is not currently the same as it was when he was talking to Joe. That's all we're saying. Moving on. At 56, Tom the Connector jumps in. They had some tech difficulties. At 1 o'clock, they troll some people that they let through. It's interesting. I don't really know how the platform works, but how you let people in. So watching this, if you are going to be doing a phone banking party, might be interesting to see how you handle trolls to get them to go away. 103, Buttigieg ranks at 4 with one of the people he talked to. At 104, he asked about the UBI, and she liked it. At 105, Tom pops by and Annette joins. She had a hard time figuring it out, so she pops out to make more room. Talks to another person about him being fourth place and how Bernie, Pete, and then question mark Yang. The guy's not even going to go to caucus, and then he wastes time on the conversation about this guy not going to support Yang when Yang isn't even in his top 3. The idea is if he's going to put question mark in there, say, well, great, thanks for the time, and move on. There's a script on the banking, there's a script on the texting, script on the phone. I would say if you're going to stick with that, do that, but watch what Boyce and watch what Tom and these guys do, because they genuinely have the policies known and they weave them in and out of the conversation to keep it going and it doesn't get stagnant. Also, listening, I saw was a really good thing that Paget and Boyce have been doing. They listen to people and then they put a little bit of the stump or a little bit of the question answer in there. At 11, you see the dialer. 1 minute and 11 seconds, you see the dialer in here. It's great. I think I'll put a screenshot if I can grab it. They give a shout out to Crank Yankers. Yay! At 1 minute and 20 seconds, not 1 minute, 1 hour 20 seconds, we got a shout out. Yang Gang, big guy, caught on the tail end. I watched it the other night when they were doing it live. I didn't have time to watch the whole thing, but I went back and recapped it, of course. Let's see here. 127, the phone versus computer calls. What's easier? Some people dial with the phone. Some people dial with the computer. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Ask the person where does he go to rank them. They said fourth. Just went into a tirade about how they didn't like Tulsi. Have you seen the Yang Gang? He asked at 1 hour and 33. And then back to the can I get your email thing. You know, and honestly, I have to think about it more. If it is a personal touch, you do have your phone. You could text them. You could email them. And phone banking gives you a lot of great resources to answer questions, and I've been fielding those too. So I always direct people to yang2020.com to read through policies, and if they have questions, ask their friends, ask their family, ask their neighbors, and discuss amongst themselves. And also give us a shout out, yanggangbigisland@gmail.com, to answer that. If we don't know the answer to that, we'll give you the human approach, and we'll get back to you. As far as moving on here, he brought the big guns at the end. They talked to a person about, at 1 hour and 40 minutes about the division between the country, how this message resonates with voters, how people on the left and the right, Republican, liberal, conservative, it doesn't matter, it resonates. He used a little bit of math, which I love. I think math, to me, the main thing that it represents is taking any individual, asking where they live, finding out how many people are registered inside their neighborhood, and tell them what that can mean financially for them. It just is math. It is the numbers of trickle down and trickle up, how they work for the advantage. If you have somebody like myself who lives in a place that has 581 registered voters, that means just a little bit less than $600,000. Now, in a place where we're kind of condensed and squished, $600,000 can generate in revenue unbelievable significant change. And I do believe the place where I live, nothing drastic would happen, but people would now have a safety net. People would now have the ability to afford creation ideas, maybe solar, off-grid, maybe things that will be beneficial. Maybe rather than using pesticides, we could hire people to handpick the things that you're killing off with disease-ridden chemicals, which go into the gulches and go down into our ocean. Anywho, that's for another day. Moving on, Pachikegi. This is another long one, but this is the purpose of today. This is going to be a little bit longer. I'll try and edit it down. At 8 o'clock, At 8 minutes in, she talks about direct approaches. At 8 minutes and 49, she hits the freedom dividend. At 11, she talks about caucusing, the information that a majority of the people in Iowa do not know who the candidates are and do not know when the caucuses are and how to get informed. At 13, she talks about Alaska. At 15, she talks about the dividend and how it works. At 16:40, she talks about the Michael Tubbs in Stockton, California, doing the $500 dividend and how that's worked out. All these things are Googleable. If you do not know about Michael Tubbs, check him out. 1750, she talks about needing bodies. That's basically what the Electoral College is. And let me break this down to you. With caucusing in Iowa, it's like ranked chase voting on steroids. That's it. People are going to show up to caucus for who they champion. So the Yang Gang will be there, and all the Buttigieg supporters, and all the Biden, and all the Warner. And what happens there is if somebody doesn't get enough of a percentage, those votes have to go somewhere. You are in a building, which means that the leads on each of those and the wave of the gang is going to try and consume those votes. So if we address things and issues that every single party and majority need to be expressed on, like AI, Medicare for All, automation, freedom dividend, and how it's better than just a standard wage, and how that will fluctuate and change due to inflation and taxation, how we're not participating in capitalism, and how overall we have had studies like the Roosevelt study, which discusses the UBI in depth. This ain't the first time to this rodeo, y'all. If you get inside this, it has been around and been championed since the beginning of our democracy. And unfortunately, capitalism and democracy go hand in hand. If the people don't share in capitalism, less likely they are to be sharing in democracy. You will get disaffected and you will be basically not participant, which is what the Republican Party wants. So, non-biasedly, be involved in democracy. Vote for any Democratic Party captain, but when it goes to caucusing, it's like ranked choice voting. You could have your first, second, and third. If Andrew has the wave and we have the majority and the numbers that we need to be in there, what happens if Biden supporters don't? Which is maybe something a little bit closer like a Steyer. Anywho, we could absorb those and it will go to the total of us, and then the wave will come crashing down. That's when it starts going. Sorry, took too much on that. So basically where she's going right there, she's talking about we need physical bodies to caucus in Iowa, and what she's trying to do and all the other people here is to get people to agree to go in and caucus. Physical bodies in the location supporting democracy. If you don't know about Andrew Yang, how are you going to be informed about his policies, and how are you going to make an informed decision? As I've said it before, I'll say it again. You don't buy a car, you don't, get a new instrument or a passion. You don't get into a relationship or take a new job without having all the information. Why would you? All right, moving on. She goes into the freedom dividend at depth at 37. At 41, she asks if they could go see him. She will say to somebody, hey, will you go see him there playing? And Andrew Yang is giving the speech in these places. And go and check him out and see it for yourself, and then back it up with, can you caucus? The whole idea of going out to see Andrew, if they're already have him as his number one or number two, they're going to want to know where that stuff is. It's available online. You could direct them to yang2020.com to events and mobilize. Or you could just tell them where the lists are. Or you can take their information email like they've been doing and get back to them. That means that while you're online, while you're phone banking, you can get more information processed and done with them, thusly being able to move on to the next person, thusly hitting more quantity but having quality still. Humanistic approach. Humanity first. All right, moving on from Patrick Hagan. She goes into complete depth on a lot of things. 43, why people suggesting the Joe Rogan thing. I talked about that up there. And then she also makes a lot of good points here before she does her wrap up at 1 hour and 16 minutes. At 1:04, she talks about guns and the Republican voters in Iowa, how technology and AI are going to be moving over to an ID registered gun, which I could totally see as well. And then 107, she talks about mental health care and the state of democracy, which is the greater question about gun reform. Do we really want people who are mentally unstable having the ability to purchase guns and use them for whatever agenda they deem fit? Then it comes down to a whole question of who controls that. And right now, the lobbyists do with big money. At 108, talking about the wave. At 110, she's talking about media bias and stop mentioning Trump. Stop talking about him. There's no point. It's not left, it's not right, it's forward. You don't even have to bring up the name or the idea of it. All you have to do is talk about Andrew's policies and how they affect Americans, what the freedom dividend will do, and what happens when everybody's happy. And ask them to think about things that they're thinking about, but think bigger. Think bigger. What happens when you pay off your car, your mortgage, and your kids are safe? There's no gun violence, and there's a place to go to school where you get educated about being a butcher, baker, candlestick maker, and then we're able to fix the infrastructure, devote our reality to climate change and crisis. What happens in that world? Anywho, it's been very long-winded. I'm going to wrap it up here with the periodicals. Periodicals, there was a smear campaign in the Washington Post. I put it down below. Journalism is absolutely dead, folks. Welcome. On Twitter, gambling odds are stacking on Yang. It's a sure thing. If sure bet for anybody who's into gambling, check out election odds. I don't gamble that way. I tried poker once or twice. I have no luck. It's great. Andrew jokes about his piano recital before he gives a stump speech. He sits down and he sort of taps out something that he remembers. It was really funny. The man can play piano. Andrew was dancing and playing. He was dancing and singing at church. It was awesome. He has a rhythm. That looks great. Andrew was dancing and singing and play with axes at a axe throwing place. I don't know where they were or what event they were. I didn't do too much, but I did watch the clip on the Twitter. Republicans are starting to change towards Andrew's life-changing policies. Yang Month has turned into Yang Year, basically, for this next thing. All the people are out in Iowa right now. Please support them. They're supporting us. There's hundreds of people walking around in Iowa right now, knocking on doors in the freezing cold, talking to people, everybody, about Andrew Yang. And what they're finding is people just don't know about him. When they hear the policies, they're intrigued. All right, moving on. Reddit. Tom Steyer gives a shout out to the Yang Gang. We mentioned it before. If you haven't seen this, go to Reddit. Support Tom Steyer. Go listen to what he has to say. And hopefully things will be a little bit better than what they've been for Andrew and Tom and all the other people that have a voice in democracy on the stage at election time. Anywho, now we've got more endorsements. We've got February. When the wave comes crashing down, I would hope that the campaign would devote a little bit more finances to the Hawaiian Islands here, maybe open up an office. We could get a little bit more central division, maybe get everybody out to vote in record highs for the blue in Hawaii and flip this state from red to blue. Wouldn't that be amazing? All these disaffected voters. But that's what we're doing here at Yang Gang Big Island. Hi, buddy. You hot? We're trying to switch over Yang Gang. We're not trying to switch over Yang Gang. We're trying to switch over voters here. At least get them registered and informed about what's going on with policy. And get them involved in democracy. Because honestly, we've been writing pen pal letters to people in Iowa. We've been phone banking, text banking. We've been going out and canvassing. We've been getting people registered to vote. We've been supporting people who support Yang. And if you are a part of that, please leave your name in the comments and we'll get in contact with you. If you have any questions, contact us at yanggangbigisland@gmail.com. And as always, aloha, Big Island.